Hey everyone, I'm Kel, Red Zone Rogue, and welcome to my very first Flesh and Blood deck tech video. Today's video we are covering Dash, Inventor Extraordinaire. This is an aggro go wide dash deck with some weapon and item support. Keep in mind that I am still pretty new to Flesh and Blood, so this is likely not fully optimized, and also keep in mind that this is not a budget build. I am running legendaries and I am running majestics. Without further ado, let's get started with the deck. I think it is a lot of fun. So our hero is Dash, Inventor Extraordinaire. She has the 4 card starting hand size, the 40 life total, and she is a Mechanologist hero. Her ability is you may start the game with a Mechanologist item with total cost 2 or less in the arena. It is considered to have entered the arena. So if it has like a when this card enters the arena, do X thing, that actually happens. Keep that in mind because we are running a good number of Mechanologist items in the deck, and they are kind of important to our overall strategy. We will go over the items near the end of the video. Let's go on to our equipment. Dash's weapon of choice is the Teklo Plasma Pistol. It is a very, very powerful weapon, honestly. It has an action of remove a steam counter from Teklo Plasma Pistol attack. It does have an attack value of 2. It does have another action of 1 resource. If there are no steam counters on Teklo Plasma Pistol, put a steam counter on it, go again. So if you have extra resources, you can put steam counters on it and then use those steam counters to attack with Teklo Plasma Pistol. And we have another item in the deck that lets us give the pistol go again, so we can actually shoot multiple times in a turn. It's actually very, very powerful, especially if you're already attacking, boosting, and then, you know, finishing up with like 2 or 3 pistol shots. It's actually quite a big game, really, really good card, and it kind of gives Dash some staying power that some other aggro style decks might not have. So on to the actual equipment. For the headpiece, I am running Arcanite Skullcap. It's a very good defensive one. It is a legendary, so you might not have it, but if you do, I would consider running it. It says if you have less life than your opponent, Arcanite Skullcap gains +1 defense and Arcane Barrier 3. Really, really good. Does have Battle Worn, where if you use it, you just put a -1 counter on it instead of it being destroyed, and it has a regular defense of 1. It is a really good headpiece, but just keep in mind that it's not super good unless you have less life than your opponent. So if they're building up for 1 giant attack, you know, if they're playing something like Brute or Guardian or even Wizard, if they're going to try to do like a combo attack on you, you might not have this activated, so it might not be as useful as it seems. Still really, really solid though. Next up, I am running the Mechanologist Legendary Teklo Foundry Heart. Really, really sweet one. Has 2 defense, does have that same Battle Worn, so you can use it to defend a couple times. And it has a once per turn action for a single resource. You can banish the top 2 cards of your deck, gain 1 resource for each Mechanologist card banished this way. Activate this ability only if you boosted this turn, and we are running a lot of boosts. This deck is big boosties. Then go again. So basically you can use this to gain an additional resource. Most of the cards in this deck are Mechanologists. We are running a couple non-Mechanologist cards, but most of them are because we really, really want to make use of that boost. Next up is Goliath Gauntlet. Pretty simple equipment. Action, destroy the Goliath Gauntlet. The next attack action card with cost 2 or more you play this turn gains +2 damage. Go again. Pretty good. We are running a lot with 2 or more. Not a whole lot. We have a lot of 1 cost and 0 cost actions, but we have a good number of 2 costs as well. I think the Goliath Gauntlet is pretty good, though. You know, this is a leeway slot. You can really run, you know, whatever other thing you need. If you really need a defensive option, you can run that, or you know, whatever else. And finally, we have the common Mechanologist equipment, Achilles Accelerator. This one is another really, really sweet one. It says instant, destroy Achilles Accelerator, gain 1 action point. Activate this ability only if you have boosted this turn. So this is a really good way to gain, you know, more action points so you can do more things in a single turn, which you really, really want to do. Maybe use that action point to fire off another pistol shot or whatever. It also has Arcane Barrier 1, which is quite good. You know, between this, the chest piece, and the helmet, we have a decent defensive suite, with the Arcanite Skullcap giving us both defense and Arcane Barrier, the Foundry Heart giving us the defense, and the Achilles Accelerator giving us that Arcane Barrier. Also keep in mind that these cards are not mandatory. They are very, very good, but if you don't have them, you know, feel free to run whatever common ones you have. Most of the deck really doesn't need all the legendaries and majestics to function. They just make it, you know, better. All right, and now on to the deck proper. We're going to go over all of our attacks first, and you know, a good chunk of the deck are attacks. First up, we have Pedal to the Metal. I am running the red pitch value and a single one of the yellow pitch value for Pedal to the Metal. The red pitch has a cost of 2, an attack of 5, and it says if Pedal to the Metal hits, your next attack this turn gains Dominate, and it has Boost. And just so you know what Boost does, it says an additional cost to play Pedal to the Metal. You may banish the top card of your deck. If it's a Mechanologist card, Pedal to the Metal gains Go Again. So basically, every time you play a card with Boost, banish the top card of your deck. If it's a Mechanologist card, which it probably is going to be, the card gains Go Again, which is fantastic. The yellow pitch is the exact same, except it has 1 less damage and, pitches 4 more. Pretty good card, especially if we can give Dominate to a really heavy-hitting attack. And we have some pretty heavy-hitting attacks in the deck. Next up, we have Overloop. I'm running 3 of the red pitch value Overloops. Also another very simple card. Cost of 2, damage of 5. If Overloop hits, put it on the bottom of your deck, and it has Boost. It's a really good card to keep the, action going since it goes on the bottom of your deck instead of in the graveyard. And we are going to be burning through the deck pretty quickly with all of the boost stuff that we have going on. I definitely like the red pitch value version over any of the other ones. Like I said, we are running a full 3 of the red. Next up is 0 to 60. I am running the full Monty of 0 to 60. 3 of each of the pitch values. I think it is that good. So what does 0 to 60 do? It costs 0, which is excellent. Boost has 4 damage and then 3 defense. And then the yellow version is just 3 damage. And the blue version is just 2 damage, with, the pitch values being adjusted as you see. Yeah, 0 to 60, just a really, really sweet boost card. Just being able to attack for 4 with the ability to go again is quite good. And even the other ones, the 3 damage and the 2 damage ones are pretty good. You'll probably be pitching the blue or the yellows to activate our other abilities, but still really, really solid. Very, very similar to 0 to 60, we have Zipper Hit. Just like 0 to 60, we are running the full Monty, 3 of each of all of the pitch values. Very, very simple card. Just has damage and boost. So cost of 1, boost, damage of 5 on the red pitch. For the yellow pitch, cost of 1, boost, damage of 4. And finally on the blue ones, cost of 1, boost, damage of 3. Like I said, almost exactly the same as 0 to 60. Just, the damage and the cost have been adjusted. Next up, we have Throttle. This is the heavy hitter of our boost suite. We are not quite running the full Monty. We have 3 of the red pitch, 2 of the yellow pitch, and 2 of the blue pitch. And that's just because I wanted to have an extra blue pitch in over another yellow, just because, having additional resources is pretty good for this deck. As you saw, not all the cards are super low cost. We do have a good number of 2-cost attacks. What does Throttle do? It's the exact same thing as Zipper Hit and 0 to 60, just the most damaging and also the most expensive to play. 2-cost, boost, 6 damage. Very, very good. Whereas the yellow version, 2-cost, boost, 5 damage. And then the blue one, 2-cost, boost, and 4 damage. 4 damage is still quite good. Like this card a lot, but we wanted to run more of the cheaper, more efficient cards over more throttles, just because we want to be as speedy as possible. And finally, for the attacks, we have 2 maximum velocities. This card is very, very powerful, but it is also very tricky to use. It is a red pitch value, cost of 2, defense of 3, attack of 10. Yeah, that is nuts. But it says play maximum velocity only if you have boosted 3 or more times this turn. It is very hard to boost 3 times in a single turn without the assistance of other cards in the deck. We'll go over those when the time comes. Just know that we're not running the full playset of this just because you don't want this sitting in your hand doing nothing. We really want to be proactive, and red pitch isn't super great for this deck. And, the 3 defense is not too shabby. It's pretty average, but yeah, we definitely want to be playing this and dealing that 10 damage. All right, let's start talking about the rest of the deck. We're going to start off with High Octane. This card is amazing. If you had to pick any Majestic for this deck, I would highly suggest High Octane. This card just really makes the deck go. It is a red pitch value card, cost of 1. It does have a 3 defense value. It says whenever you boost a card this turn, gain 1 action point, draw a card, go again. Super, super good. So when you play it, it immediately replaces itself. Then every card you boost basically gives you 2 action points, because you get the ability to go again off the boost, and you gain the additional action points. So you can just keep playing cards over and over again. Very powerful card, which is why we are running a full playset of these. Some versions of this deck should probably run Snatch, I think is what it's called. It's a card from Welcome to Wraith where if it hits, you get a draw card. I think that works really, really well with High Octane. Next up is Remembrance. I run 2 of these, and that's simply because I only own 2 of these. If I had another one, I would definitely run it. I think this card's really, really good in the deck. It has a pitch value of 2, cost of 0. It's an instant, which means you can basically play it at any time. You don't even need an action point. It says shuffle up to 3 action cards from your graveyard into your deck. Banish Remembrance. Just a really, really good way to get stuff back into your deck so you can keep the momentum going. Like I said, because we're boosting, we're going to be going through our deck very, very quickly, and we definitely want to put certain cards back into it so we can keep the pressure on. Solid card. Like I said, run 3 if you have them. Next up is Locked and Loaded. This is our only pump card for the deck. Like I said, this is kind of a go wide deck. We want to play a lot of different cards in one turn rather than playing like one big attack. But I think Locked and Loaded is quite good. Cost of 0. It says the next Mechanologist attack action card you play this turn gains +3. All of our attack actions are Mechanologist actions, so this basically pumps up any attack we're going to do. If you have boosted this turn, opt 1, go again. Does have the 3 defense value. I am running 3 of the red version and 2 of the yellow version. Yellow version, the only difference is the attack value. This one pumps it by 3, yellow pumps it by 2. Pretty solid and efficient card for punching through our opponent's defenses. And finally, we have our items and our item support cards. First of all, let's go over Pour the Mold. We are running 3 of the red pitch value. It does have a defense of 3, which is actually very important to note because the items themselves don't have any defense values, which is kind of one of the weak points of the deck. If you have them stuck in your hand, your opponent's really going ham on you, you're going to have a hard time defending. What Pour the Mold does, it says, put a Mechanologist item with cost 2 or less from your hand into the arena. If you had boosted this turn, put a steam counter on it, then go again. Has cost of 0. So basically this lets you cheat the cost of a Mechanologist item, but also go again, which is really, really sweet if you want to play that Mechanologist item and then start playing attack actions. And that's just because none of the Mechanologist items have go again themselves. So yeah, Pour the Mold, pretty good. We don't want to run too many of these because we're not running a ton of items in the deck, but I still think it's worth it. Next up is Spark of Genius. I am running 2 of these in the deck, and once again, this is because I only own 2 of these. And if I owned another one, I might consider running it, but I do like 2 in the deck. It does have a pitch value of 2. It is a dash specialization, so you can only have this card in your deck if dash is your hero. And it says, search your deck for a Mechanologist item card with cost X, put it into the arena, then shuffle your deck. If you have boosted this turn, draw a card, and it has a cost of X. So if you spend 2 resources, 1 for X and 1 for X, that means you get to search your deck for a cost 1 item and then put it onto the arena and then shuffle your deck. If you paid 4 to do this, you'd be able to search your deck for a cost 2 item and then put it onto the arena because X is counted twice in the cost. Or you can just do 0, 0, search your deck for a cost 0 or less and slap it into the arena. We are running a good number of 0 cost items, so just keep that in mind as well. And finally for the deck, we have our little suite of items. Starting off with Induction Chamber. This is the one that I often pick to start the game with. If you remember Dash's ability, you get to start the game with one that costs 2 or less in the arena, and I usually pick Induction Chamber because this card is actually insanely good with Dash's pistol. It has a red pitch value, cost of 2, and like I said, none of the items have defense values. It says action for 1 resource. If there are no steam counters on Induction Chamber, put a steam counter on it, go again, and it has a once per turn attack reaction. Remove a steam counter from Induction Chamber, target pistol attack, gains, go again. This is a way to give our Teklo Plasma Pistol more attacks in a turn. So if you have a lot of resources, you can keep putting steam counters on this card. Keep in mind that this is a once per turn attack reaction, so you can only attack 1 more additional time with the pistol with a single induction chamber. If you have multiple induction chambers, you can use each individual item separately. With that said, I'm only running a single induction chamber in the deck because I don't really go all in on the attack strategy. I'm mostly a go wide attack action strategy rather than focusing on the pistol, but I still think it's good enough to include. Really, really solid card. Next is Teklo Core. I am running 2 of these cards. Really, really sweet dash specialization. If I had another one, I would probably run another one. I think it's just that good. As a blue pitch value, which is quite good, honestly. Definitely like the higher pitch for this card. Cost of 0. It does have the dash specialization. It says Teklo Core enters the arena with 2 steam counters on it. When Teklo Core has no steam counters on it, destroy it. At the beginning of your action phase, remove a steam counter from Teklo Core and gain 2 resources. So you basically gain 4 resources over the course of 2 turns, which is pretty good. So instead of pitching it for 3, you can, you know, bank it up and use it for 4. I think this card is still really, really good. 2 is a really, really sweet spot for this deck. We basically don't ever need more than 2 to play any attack action. So yeah, I really, really like the Teklo core. I think it's very, very good. Possibly some builds of this deck will start the game with the Teklo core in the field instead of Induction Chamber, though I really like the Induction Chamber. Next up is Optical Monocle. This is another 0 cost, 3 pitch value Mechanologist item. It enters the arena with 5 steam counters on it. When Optical Monocle has no steam counters on it, destroy it. Action, remove a steam counter from Optical Monocle, opt 1, go again. And you can do that as many times as you want in a turn. Doesn't say once per turn. So you can opt, put the card on the bottom, opt, put the card on the bottom. You can keep doing that until you get something sweet that you know you want. Or on a crucial boost, you can opt and make sure the card is not Remembrance, because I think that's the only non-Mechanologist card we're running in the deck. Put it on the bottom so you can get that boost off. We are running 3 of them. Next is Hyperdriver. This is a 1 cost, red pitch value Mechanologist item. It says it enters the arena with 3 steam counters on it. When it has no steam counters on it, destroy it. Once per turn effect, when you boost a card, remove a steam counter from Hyperdriver and gain 1 resource. Really, really solid. Basically, this gives you an additional resource if you boost, so you can keep playing attack actions. Say you play 0 to 60, you know, because it costs 0, do some damage, get that boost, and then gain an additional resource to play something like Zipper Hit. Really, really solid. I'm running 2 of these, mostly because we just don't want a lot of these stuck in our hand. Next up, we have Convection Amplifier. This is a 0 cost Mechanologist item with a red pitch value. Enters the arena with 2 steam counters on it. When there are no steam counters on it, destroy it. Action, remove a steam counter from Convection Amplifier. The next attack action you play this turn gains Dominate. Go again. Really solid if you played it in conjunction with the right attack. Maybe one of those 6 or 10 power attacks that we have. Pretty solid. We are running 2 of these in the deck. Once again, we don't really want a whole lot of these to, you know, gum up our hand. And the final card in the deck is Cognition Nodes, or as some people call it, Cognition Noodles. This is a 3 pitch value, 1 cost Mechanologist item. Action, for 1 resource, if there are no steam counters on Cognition Nodes, put a steam counter on it. Go again. So it's very, very similar to the Induction Chamber in that you can keep adding steam counters to it, so it just stays on the field and you can keep getting value from it. So what do you use those steam counters for? Well, it says once per turn attack reaction, remove a steam counter from Cognition Nodes, target attack action card gains. If this hits, put it on the bottom of your deck. Once again, really, really good being able to put it on the bottom of your deck instead of in the graveyard. Lets you keep the action going. And since we burn through the deck so fast with all of our boosties, we definitely want to keep that action going. This card is also a contender for one of the ones you might choose to start the game with, depending on, you know, what you want to do. And that was the deck, everyone. I hope you all liked it. That was my very first Flesh and Blood deck tech. Let me know which hero you would like to see next. I do have decks for every single one of the Arcane Rising heroes, though they're not all completed. The next most completed is my Arc Knight deck or my Runeblade deck. While I'm waiting to get some cards in for trade and purchase that I bought from New Zealand, it's taken a long time to ship from there with everything going on right now. The Runeblade deck is basically done. It's just missing 1 card, but the other 2 decks are missing a good number of cards. Anyway, like, comment, subscribe, all that stuff. Ring that notification bell. It really, really helps quite a bit if you want to get notified for more Flesh and Blood and card game content. But regardless of what you do, thank you very much for watching, and I will see you next time for some more Flesh and Blood content. I'll see you later.